Alex Constatino is back from Rush's Kitchen Supply.
And he is going to show us how to cook up wild game. And I have to say, every wife of a hunter out there is like, what do I do with all of this meat? So
he brings back all that deer, all that elk, all that bear.
And you don't know what to do.
What do I do?
So now, you have elk today.
Now you can get sophisticated, okay? So to understand, game traditionally has one, it has a gamey taste to it a lot of people don't like, and two, can be rather tough.
Right.
I like to call it boot leather. So we've got
and why is that? Because
it's a lean,
elk like to run.
And the elk, run. But he didn't run fast enough for you, Matt. You got that one right there.
Gotcha.
So we've got to deal with these two things. We've got a tough piece of meat that can be a little bit gamey. So we're going to do some things to remedy that.
Okay.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to marinate the elk.
Okay.
In the marinating process, we typically have some form of an acid. And in this particular marinade, which we've got a recipe up, it has balsamic vinegar and red wine.
Oh, wow.
And those acids basically attack the connective tissue and the protein and break it down so that it's not so tough.
Just let me clarify, is it red wine or red wine vinegar?
Red wine.
Okay, so red wine and balsamic vinegar.
The words of UB40, red wine.
Red wine, exactly. And the balsamic vinegar adds a nice sweet note to it, okay? So we're gonna marinate our elk steaks in this for maybe 15 minutes to an hour. Most guys think, you know, well, I'll marinate it overnight. Overnight overdoes it.
Is some is good, more is better?
No,
not in this case.
That is not it.
I think.
So does the marinade help them with both the toughness and the gaminess?
Yes. The toughness primarily, that acid will start to eat it.
Break it
down. And the reason why we don't marinate overnight is because it will break that down to the point where the outside of it is mushy. You know, down in South America they do with ceviche with raw shrimp. They just marinate it until it's cooked. So you don't want to overdo it. We want to lighten it up a little bit, add a little bit of flavor, but really the kicker is going to be in our sauce.
I'm excited about this
and
sauce.
our sauce, a good friend of mine who's a chef up in Montana, he taught me this sauce. This is a huckleberry sauce. And for those of you who know about huckleberries, to go out and find them is difficult.
Right.
Almost like going and getting the elk. So this is
while you're up there getting the elk,
hunter and gathering experience.
Like, honey, while you're getting the elk, could you put up some huckleberries too, please?
Or you can buy them. I bought these at a local market up in Idaho Falls. They're quite expensive. A little tub like this was about $10. And you need a couple tubs of this to make my sauce. So this stuff is liquid gold, but it's a wonderful sauce that adds a nice flavor to the elk steak. It's got huckleberries in it. It's got a little bit of sugar because the huckleberries are kind of tart. Offset that. It's got the balsamic vinegar. It's got rice wine vinegar, red wine, rosemary, sage, and thyme.
Now, is this reduced thing? Because I just want to show that's nice and warm. There's quite a lot of body to it. It's not a really thin sauce. I mean, it's quite...
There's a process to it, and in the recipe, you guys can look at it, I think that we post it here on KPVI more. Also, you can go to Rush's Kitchen Facebook and find the recipe as well. So there is a process to it. You basically reduce it down, then you strain it, then you add some rosemary to seep, then I used a cornstarch slurry to give it a little bit of body and some thickness to it.
So this is for one of those special evenings, maybe when you have guests, you want to spend a little more money, take a little more time.
But how do you approach it? Because some of your guests might say, I'm not a wild game. Don't tell them in advance.
You don't tell them. What are we having for dinner? Meat.
Meat.
Okay?
In a lovely red wine and
my dad always tried that with deer in the spaghetti, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Deer in the spaghetti?
Well, yeah, ground deer meat, and he, you know, put it in like a marinara spaghetti sauce.
And it just had a little bit of a kick.
It's because he didn't make it with huckleberries.
Well, and he didn't marinate it. And mask it,
Yeah,
and
no, he
mask
did not. So I'm just saying you should make people aware.
I think it's fun to take them by surprise.
I think we need to plate it up and eat some.
I think so.
I think so too. Okay, so do we just pour a little over here then, and let's move this
let me cut it first.
That would be
Let me cut this one.
All right.
This is a loin here.
We're going to try that. We're going to serve it up, and we're going to try out that delicious dish coming up next.
Delicious.